Welcome back, Superfans, to another exciting episode of Secret Society of Superfans. I am your host, Sarah Talks, and joining me, as always, is the fabulous Reality Allie. All right, Allie, let's get into it. What were your thoughts on this Thanksgiving episode? Well, Thanksgiving Eve episode 11 of the season of Survivor 47.
It was a great episode. Made me nervous that all the things that we said on our last recording, we might be wrong about.
You were so wrong. I love, and I've said it before, I love to be wrong. I love when a show proves me wrong. I don't like to lose. I don't like to lose things like the draft. But I love when Survivor can break out of that predictability mold. And it seems like they did. They got us. They got us good.
I would say yes and no. I think the name of the episode led me to believe that Kyle was not going to be winning another immunity idol. Immunity challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Because flipping the win switch.
Sorry.
But
I got hair. So if you're watching the video and I look like a crazy person, there's a random hair in my face. Okay.
So they load that episode name a little bit in advance. I remember seeing that and going, okay, so I'm fairly certain Kyle's not going to win an immunity challenge. Wasn't all the way convinced he would be going home on this episode.
No, you and I were live together during the episode, and but that's what I mean. That's what I mean by like when the show mixes up their predictability factor here, because the edit was giving false Kyle's in trouble, narrative. Mm-hmm. And it was real. It was just real. So yeah, spoiler alert. But yeah, we lost Kyle, my winner pick, my pride and joy, my sweet schnookums Kyle, who made me love him even more every single episode, and he just cherry on top of the cake, this episode.
To me, the edit was giving very much Caroline boot.
Yeah.
Because right off the bat, we started the way that they edited her reason why. It's always a dead giveaway. When you get this is my reason why. And we got that from a few other players, but Caroline's was so hot and heavy at the beginning that I was like, oh, it's Caroline. And I was wrong.
Yeah, we were so confident on that live to be like, oh yeah, no, Kyle's good. It's not Kyle. And you were saying Caroline. I was feeling Genevieve from the edit, but yeah, we were both very, very wrong.
Genevieve also got that same, like I said, a few people got the same edit on this episode. Genevieve was, I think, the second or third one to get. I think Sam maybe even got a little sprinkle of that reason why edit as well. So it leads me to believe that Teenie might be going to finale. I don't know if Teenie's winning after what we saw, but Teenie might be going to finale. Rachel might be going to finale. Other than that, potentially Andy. But other than that, I feel like everybody else is not.
After hearing, and we're going to talk about this later in the episode, but we do have some additional information and things that have come out from Kyle's exit interviews that lead me to believe that Teenie might be in more trouble. And there might be some potential fallout that we haven't seen yet. So we will get to that later in the episode. But I am worried about Teenie now. I wasn't during the episode. I am worried now. But all that, tons of surprises in this episode. But can we just talk? And I know that this is becoming the what's the matter with Sue podcast. But it's been very noticed online. A lot of people are talking. We've noticed it's her obsession with Kyle is one thing, but the stark contrast in the level of dirt that is on her face and how dirty her face is at all times compared to the rest of the tribe.
It's contour makeup. I've decided she is attempting.
So that's the thing, Allie. She confirmed it on her Instagram. She said. She confirmed in a comment on her Instagram, Sue Schmidt, you should go follow her on Instagram. But she said that she actually figured out how to contour with dirt on the island, which has been a theory that's been floating around that Sue is very into her looks and very self-conscious and, a little Miss 45-year-old on the island. and there's no foundation, there's no contour, there's no bronzer. So she's kind of trying to mask um, her skin and her features by using dirt, because at times it makes sense. You're all living on an island, there's no showers.
There's
But then
no
when you look at the rest of the tribe compared to her, she looks like she just got out of a challenge at all times.
Mhm. And what she should really be worrying about masking a little bit more is that red paint that she had. I'm just saying
Yes.
that would have made a little bit more sense to me.
She could have like bottled it too and used it as like some lip stain later on.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, maybe the focus is not on the right subject here, Sue. I appreciate the hardcore, die hard, I want to stick to my lie. But like, if I'm gonna have to rub dirt intentionally on my face every day, let's just let them know how old I am.
She's the Dolly Parton of Survivor, and it takes a lot of money to look this trashy, and like not calling Sue. It's a quote from Dolly Parton. Calm down, people. But I can hear them. But I'm just saying that it's interesting. It's innovative.
Yeah, good
it's
word.
innovative. Yeah, it's innovative. A bit vain, though. A bit vain. But innovative.
A bit batshit.
So but if there's one thing that Sue is gonna do, it's gonna be that she's gonna hyperfixate on something that doesn't matter, like the way Kyle voted the first tribe and the way her cheekbones are being accentuated.
She literally, this episode started out with a fixation of Sue being so concerned about who voted for Gabe versus who did. Like, Sue, it's a game. It's a game, baby. It's a game.
So, and that's the thing that I was worried about. I was really worried about, and that's also another thing I want to talk about, Sue, because if, again, to our point, if Sue, we know Sue, like we think we do by this season so far, it's going to be that if you don't vote the way she wants you to vote, she's never going to forget it. But I feel like Caroline really managed her beautifully.
She did.
Big vote.
She did. And I look, I appreciate a good grudge. I really do, especially on reality TV. It's great. But Sue is just holding true to it. And I would agree with you that she was able to be reeled back in with that conversation.
Yeah, like Caroline really seemed to ground her, and I feel like the way she maneuvered it was like he was, he was for you, but he was not for me, and these are my reasons. And Sue really seemed to take kindly to it, and it seemed to work and kind of solidify their bond even more, which was surprising to me. But Caroline, it just continued, every single episode continues to surprise me, and the way she's grown in this game has just been really, really impressive.
Yes. But based on her edit, sadly enough, she's grown, but I see no win out of Caroline.
Really? None at all?
I do not. After the edit we got, unless they throw out some hometown pictures, that's why I've been saying I don't want to be like in a box right now, because we did just get a
We're breaking the mold this season, Allie.
Yeah, they threw us to the wolves on this last episode. But I've been saying I need to see this last episode that we're going to get before the finale episodes begin. And it makes me nervous about what's going to happen, because I really do feel like we've said this I was almost about to say yesterday. Last week we said that this finale is going to be a bomb. Like, something is going off at this finale. I know, we discuss off the air, like, different things that have been said, and we're going to get into that on Instagrams, on podcast episodes of different people that have talked about different things. But all of these things are leading me to believe that this next episode is going to be wild, and everything that we're seeing in this finale is going to be like, we're just going to be like, our eyes are going to be peeled the whole time. That's the only thing I'm certain of, is that
it's going to be wild. Yeah. I gotta say that, like, this season overall, like every episode, I'm just foaming at the mouth to watch and to see it.
We always complain, you and I have the same view of, like, the competitions are boring. But you know
Not
what?
this season.
They're not this season. And even if they were still boring, they've given us enough to not be bored about that I wouldn't have
If you go
cared.
back and watch and listen to Wicked Unscripted for season 46 of Survivor and count the number of episodes where I say the phrase, like, and then we get to an obstacle course and a puzzle. And when we talk about it, and then compare it to this one, I think I've said it once. I think
This
maybe
ball
once.
thing at the Journey was really entertaining to watch. I really
Yeah.
liked
Yes. So let's get into that because we the show's trying to play us for damn fools by selling us in the tribe's words this underdog alliance that's not an underdog alliance. And what they mean by underdog alliance, I guess, are the people that never win or haven't been winning the immunity challenges. I don't know, because Sue's always rolling up in second place, and then Rachel, spoiler alert, just wins one this episode. So anyway, they're selling us on this underdog alliance. Meanwhile, this underdog alliance has 2 idols, and now
Right. That's not an underdog.
it's not an underdog. Now, not only does this alliance have 2 idols amongst them, but Miss Rachel also just picked up a block a vote at this journey. And this journey, by the way, I would have fucking slayed at. I've played this game on my phone a million times. Have you ever played this game?
Mm-mm.
There's a stupid little ad game that always pops up in all the other big popular games, and it looked like a, mind teaser kind of game. But it's like these vials with these colors, and you sort, and you only get so many
I have
vials.
played that. You're right. I have.
Yeah. I'm so good at that game. And I saw this. I was like, oh, I've played this game. But she's playing it on a barge in the middle of the ocean with like anchors about to.
And wasn't it that she wasn't given whatever her time frame was? She had no idea what that was going to be, which was interesting. But to your point about the underdog thing, I do believe that, again, this goes back into me feeling like this finale is going to be explosive, because I feel like the edit wants us to believe that this is an underdog alliance and having us forget about all, like, other than obviously Rachel just winning something, to this episode. We're forgetting that Sue has something. You know what I mean? Like, we're totally forgetting about it until we're like, oh yeah. And I feel like they want us to. I feel like
they in this episode they showed Sue getting that idol at the top of the episode.
Oh, you know what? You're right.
Previously is.
You're right. But
previously on or
they're
whatever.
sprinkling it back in for us. I just feel like they didn't mention it for so long. Usually when people have an idol, you see at least once an episode even in their
they're like reminding you about it. Yeah.
At least in the camera talks they are. So I don't know. I just really feel strongly.
But that's not who I see as the underdog.
Foreshadowing of a crazy episode for one of these 2 finale episodes, if not both, are going to be bombshells.
But like let's look at Sam, for example. Sam I see as an underdog. Sam has lost all of his allies. He's not winning competitions, and he doesn't have any power or any like real agency in the game because he doesn't have any numbers. He's an underdog. But we keep talking about even him in his confessionals where they're talking to us, like talking about his threat. If Kyle goes, well, then I'm next to go because I'm a threat. What says who? Who is the threat in the room with us? Because I'm not seeing it from him. I'm not seeing anybody see Teeny or Andy or Sue as a threat. I feel like Sue is a threat socially. She's got everybody. I'm looking at like the cast photos here. We'll talk why Teeny's threat level has risen and has gotten out there now.
So nervous about that.
But yeah, Genevieve. I see Genevieve as like the number one. It's Kyle and Genevieve. They're one's a snake in the grass, one's a snake in the challenges. You know what I'm saying? So like this talk trying to sell me that Sam is some threat. Like, no, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see the potential for Sam to be a threat.
Like if Kyle's out of the game, he could start sweeping.
That's yeah.
But he hasn't been.
Kyle is out of the way.
Sue, the 45-year-old Sue, is outperforming him.
Of the women, but what I have noticed is in the competitions, it's like Kyle and Sam kind of hanging out to the end, Andy hanging out to the end. But Sue is almost always the last female standing. There have been a few times that Teeny was the last. Well, there have been a few times that Teeny was hanging out there with Kyle and Andy and Sam. But typically it's like Kyle, Andy, Sam, and then we see Sue.
Yeah.
And there have been times where it's like Sue and another one of those, 3 or 4. But I don't know. I feel like Sue does have the potential to be a comp beast, but I don't know that she's going to unexpectedly become a comp beast. Now, Sam, yes. I think Sam or Andy, I feel like are going to win this next immunity challenge. I don't know why. I'm manifesting that for some reason.
Let's clip it.
Yeah.
So I can post it, but yeah, here we go. Your predictions are Sam or Andy for the next challenge.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just feel like the two of them are going to be safe going into the next episode, and part of that is going to be one of them having safety.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my prediction on that. Now, I agree with you that I think you mentioned a minute ago that Teeny's in trouble. I totally agree. I do disagree that I felt it in the episode. I felt it in the edit. I know you felt it more after.
Yeah, I did not feel it in the episode. But again, to set the stage for you, when I first watched this, I just rewatched it today. But when I first watched the episode, I was in a cabin. My whole family's playing Mexican Train, and I'm drinking a bottle of wine. But even in this last rewatch of the episode, I still didn't feel like the edit was there. But again, I'm starting to not trust the edit, which is exciting.
For me, it was just tribal. It was just that interaction.
Just in tribal. Okay.
That's where I was like, oh no. Like I was just crapping my pants.
Well, so was Teeny.
She is my last soul survivor.
She's the last one, yeah.
And I want them to win. I really want them to win. They are, I don't know. There's just something about them. That was my very first draft pick. I don't know. There was just something about them that I couldn't get enough of just from bio. Just from the preseason. So
hey, we fought over that pick. So love Teeny.
Yeah.
So then we get to the immunity challenge, which is them spelling the word immunity while balancing on a thing. It comes down to like Kyle and Rachel, and it's really intense because if Kyle is out, then he is out. Like, Kyle's going home if he loses this, and then Rachel pulls out the win. But I want to talk about the immediate aftermath because Jeff goes to talk to Kyle, and this could be my bias. I am completely open to this being completely my bias because of the level of petty we are seeing from Sue. But Kyle's getting this moment with Jeff and talking about family, doing it for his family and everything, which we've all known from past that annoys Sue. It annoys Sue when Kyle talks about his family. Sue starts to cry. I didn't see tears. It was like an Angela Murray cry. But Sue starts to cry, and Jeff goes to talk to her like, Sue, that brings you to tears. And it's just, I'm just so proud of myself, Jeff. And I just didn't think that I could do this in my, 45 years.
Yeah.
And so, and it was like, she's like, fuck Kyle, I don't want this guy talking. And then she tries to sit, but what was like chef's kiss about the whole scene was then Andy's the one who gets in on it. And then Andy like steals the moment that she stole from Kyle by chiming in. It's like, I want to piggyback off of Sue here. And then it makes it like turns it into an Andy moment. And I thought it was funny and cutesy then. And watching it again tonight, just really appreciated the hilarity of it all. I didn't know if you'd clocked that.
Yeah, no, I have not rewatched the episode, but I do remember laughing at that scene. And I feel like this season has given us a lot of really silly, funny edit moments. And I love
petty. That. It's giving petty.
Yeah, and I love it though.
Like P-E-T-T-Y.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I'm so here for it.
I love it.
Yeah. So then we go to tribal council now, leading up to tribal council. They're throwing Kyle's name around a whole lot. So we're like, all right, Kyle's for sure not going. But he
I was
does.
like, absolutely not. In my mind, it was Caroline or Genevieve going like
Absolutely.
leading up. I was Caroline, Genevieve.
Yeah. And no, they gave us exactly what they were teasing, and that, Kyle gets about to, but before we got to Kyle, the whatever person voted out of Survivor 47 from Jeff, the first name he pulls out is Genevieve. She looks stoic. She's like clocked it, like knew this was gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Second name he pulls out is Teeny, and Teeny's face just like lit up. In complete shock, like the rest of us, because we're like, who the fuck did that? And then it was Kyle. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people were shocked. They didn't show anything, tease us from like next episode or whatever. I'm curious to know what exactly at Tribal, besides the vote, had you worried about TV? What in the episode?
It was that interaction. It was the whole interaction, the way she was speaking. Who was she talking to? She got into like a little banter back and forth with Genevieve, Rachel. Who did she get into a banter back and forth with?
It might have been Genevieve. There was a lot of Genevieve talk where, because Jeff was like, "You're so quiet, you're so stoic."
Yeah. It was a banter that she had, and the whole time I remember we were on live, and I was like, no. Like the whole time I was like, no, this is a bad edit. This is foreshadowing for what's about to come. Like this is a boot. This is a she's in deep doo-doo edit. But I'm hopeful that they are in deep doo-doo edit. And I'm hopeful that it will not. I'm hopeful that they are just throwing us for a loop.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that the producers are throwing us for a loop. I don't think that that's what's happening. I genuinely think that Teeny is in hot water. This whole fake. Okay, so another thing is I started already being nervous whenever her and Genevieve are hanging out in the hammock, and I'm like, like it's never good when two people are in an adversarial situation and pretending not to be. That is never good in reality TV, in my unexpert opinion. So I feel like that is oozing explosion to me.
Yeah. Well, let's add some more color and some context in there, because previously Rome has stated on podcasts before that the reason that Sue doesn't like Kyle is because that Kyle had said some really problematic things that he would not repeat about Sue, and if he did, everyone would cancel Kyle. That is what Rome has said. He has not said what the quote was, what it was, or anything like that. Kyle has come out and was questioned about this and asked. He said, I called Sue and Caroline. I told Rome that Sue and Caroline were Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And they're like, yeah, we saw that. He's like, that's the only thing I've ever said about them. Now, I want to speak to the Twitter trolls that have been like, when I see posts like, why is Sue have it so bad for Kyle? You don't know what they don't show, and the edit this and the edit that. And Rome said this, and Rome said, and there's me and other people were like, it's Rome. First of all, and second of all, Kyle's just saying all these problematic things, but being a completely delightful fucking human being every other minute of the day, and production is just managing to weed out every shit human interaction. Like, no, that's not gonna. If Survivor does anything, they want a villain. They want a villain edit. They want someone to say some shit, and Kyle has not been giving that energy at all. So to find out, it was kind of vindicating to find out that this was the salacious comment. Kyle even said about what Rome said was he's just giving y'all like a crazy ass Mad Lib or something like that. Mm. Kyle has a strange way of talking.
Yeah, and on Kyle's edit, I will say this: they did edit in him saying that, everyone thinks that he's not, he's just this nice guy, yada, yada. But I have the ability to lie, cheat, and steal. I have that in me. Blah, blah. And when he started saying that, that was when I started to feel like Kyle might be in trouble. And then, like we've talked about, it felt like they were just teasing it after that. But I do wonder if perhaps something really did happen, maybe not to the caliber that Rome is feeling. But maybe something was said. Maybe Kyle did have an explosive moment that production chose not to give him because they were very much Charlie Browning him a little bit.
I feel like at this point, though, Kyle would have come out and say it. And that's just my gut feeling.
Or he's forgotten.
He's interviewed. Yeah, like he
said something that he forgot about, genuinely.
What he has said, because they said, well, then if that's the case, well, how do you feel watching that? And he goes, I was the most surprised about anything, like out of everything. I was the most surprised about seeing what Sue had to say about me in the confessionals, because she was so nice. She was so helpful. I considered her a friend. Yeah, there was that one moment, and he talked about the moment that we actually saw. He goes, there's one moment before a challenge, I tried to talk strategy with her, and she shot me down because she just wanted good vibes. And I respect that, and that's fine. But outside of that, like anytime I needed help with anything, she would help me. He said it was just very surprising to see how she was to my face, and then to see how she felt about me during the confessionals. And that's just, it's her prerogative, and I'm not for everybody, but yeah, it was just really shocking. He didn't slander, he didn't talk, he had nothing but very nice things to say about Sue, even now being out and like having seen the episodes and stuff.
Yeah, Rome's just crazy. I do think it's entirely possible that maybe Kyle said something that Rome took a different way, and Kyle's just totally forgotten about it because it's been a year since this was filmed. And Rome is alluding to something that Kyle's going to be like, whenever they talk, he's going to be like, what?
What are you talking about, bro?
But speaking of villains, something I did write down is that Genevieve did have a little moment where she said, I'd rather be a villain that didn't connect with anyone. And she goes into but essentially she'd rather be a villain that didn't connect with anyone, or she'd rather not be a villain that didn't connect with anyone than be everyone's friend, or something along those lines. Yeah. Right? And that moment gave me boot energy. Because it was like right after, it was like we saw boot energy from Caroline, boot energy from Sam. In my opinion, I thought it was boot energy from Sam. And then we got that little snippet of her why, Genevieve's why, and that comment. And that's when I was like, ooh, I don't know. It was, to me, the edit that we were getting from Genevieve is the same edit that we were also getting from Kyle on this episode. Which lets me feel like maybe Genevieve's next week. I think it's Genevieve or Caroline next week. And like I said before, I think Sam and Andy are safe. It's okay. I've got one gnawing and I've got one snoring. So
it wouldn't be the show without
dogs.
From Vader and Solo. Love to get in on the action. Another thing though, and let's going back to Teeny, and I want to share what Kyle has said about Teeny. And when asked why did he vote for Teeny during Tribal, he said that leading up to Tribal that he was trying to throw his Hail Marys, and he's been working on different things. He's had some suspicions about where the leak in the boat is coming from and who is spreading information. And something that he only told, something that he didn't say what, he said he doesn't think he can say because maybe they're going to show it in the episode. He didn't say that, but he said something, I can't say what. But he told Teeny something. He only told Teeny. And Kyle. It made it. Kyle told Teeny something and only told Teeny this about Caroline. Caroline approached Kyle about it right before trial. And he said, Caroline, you don't have to believe me, but I said that to her as a test because I've had suspicions about where the leak in the boat's coming from and how everybody knows everybody's business. And she just confirmed it. I said that to her in hopes that it would make it to you and you would come to me and I would, and then he said, Caroline, I'm telling you right now, Teeny is aligned with everyone. She knows everything and she's pitting everyone against her. Notice how no one has said her name. Notice how no one has targeted her. She, the she is the center of it. She is sliding in and she is spreading all the seeds everywhere. And he voted Teeny as like a
Right.
Hail Mary that maybe he got to Caroline, who got to Sue, who got to like maybe a last minute scramble situation, and the votes would have flipped.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous that that's not going to make it into the edit, because if it is, it's going to be immediately at the next, like as soon as the next episode begins, they will show Teeny and they'll show a conversation going on, and then they might back up and show a little flashback. That would be the only way I see that making it into the show. And yes, Kyle is not allowed to speak about anything that for anyone that is watching that has no idea, Kyle cannot speak about something that may be shown in the future, right? So that's why he's able to speak about him.
He can only talk about what we have seen.
Yes.
Right. Or something, say he could talk
or
about
he
something
knows
with
we're not
Rome.
going to see it, right? Like if it was on episode 1 and it's But so yeah, I get that. And again, I am very nervous about Teeny. I do think it is entirely possible for Teeny to go out at this episode as well. I do still have feelings about Genevieve or Caroline, but I do see the sentiment of Teeny being in so much trouble that it's their time to go on this next episode. And if what Kyle is saying makes it to the edit, I will feel even stronger that this tribal is going to be Teeny. Now, I still feel like Teeny might go to finale because I feel like they are getting a Charlie Brown edit. But after this last episode, I felt like winning at it, and then now I'm like, shoot, Charlie Brown edit. Abigail was right.
So let's look at the standings.
Yes,
I am down another one. I was starting so strong. I was the last one to lose a player at all. But now I am down to only Sam with my joint pick with Genevieve with Sammy. Sammy still has Rachel and Caroline. And I don't know why, but my gut is telling me Sammy's going to win this. Abigail still has Andy and Sue. I don't see a path for winning for Abigail here. And then you are left with Teeny, which is a possibility. It is out there. I am concerned. I am worried. We could be looking at next week you being the first out of the draft, and in which case you need to buy Abigail a buff.
I believe the first out of the draft is absolutely either going to be me or you.
Yeah.
Because
I would have to lose Genevieve and Sam.
Yeah. And I think if, that's the crazy thing is like, so we don't know how this finale is going to go. No. That's why I'm just we might end up in is it a tie game? Like, like we don't know how they're going, there could be a major change to
like having a double at the same time.
Yeah, we've never seen a double, but also we've never seen two since the year of 2000. They have had 3-hour-long finales, and that is what we've had.
They have done doubles before, but it was 2 tribals in a day.
Right. Yes, to me that's not a double, but yes.
And if this situation, if that were to happen somehow, however it is edited, meaning whoever went first in the episode,
chronologically,
that's the pecking order. Yeah.
Okay, so if they go to fire, you're gonna have to remind me how this works. If they go to fire, how many people will be doing that?
2.
So
no, sorry. There's final 3. There's final 3, and then the last winner picks who doesn't have to do fire.
Okay.
And then the other person has to pick, and the other person has to do fire.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was 3 or 4. Okay. So here's my prediction. My prediction is we can't really be making predictions until after this last episode. But after this last episode before the finale.
Yeah, it's final 4. The winner picks who doesn't have to do fire, and then the other 2 people have to compete to do fire.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. I'm thinking, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people left. That's so many people. I'm thinking at the finale, the first episode of finale, I'm thinking it starts off as regular episode. I think next week we're gonna have a regular episode,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Regular boot,
So then we're down
regular
to 6.
tribal, right? But I do believe that the first hour of finale episode 1 will be another tribal. Just
Okay.
another. It'll be fast paced, I'm sure, but I think it's gonna be another.
And so you think that we just have one tribal in the first part?
Yes.
And then in the second episode, the finale episode, we have a tribal, and then we do final 4.
No. Sorry. I think we have two tribals on
You
episode.
think we're going to have 2 tribals on part 1,
But I think part
starting
1.
us in part 2 with the final 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But unless they throw us for something new that's occurring
Yeah.
that we don't know about, I would imagine that we have. So we're at 7. So we lose 1
Next.
on
Wednesday.
I think we lose. We definitely are going to have a regular tribal. That's just there's no way we're not at the beginning of that finale. And then I think there's 2 options. I think they set us up for that final. We're going to be down to 5, so I think they set us up to figure out who's going to be final 4 and leave us at a cliffhanger, or they actually show it to us. And then because we're only going to have 2 hours, because normally we would have that, or they're going to fast pace that final 6 and final 5, fast pace it and start us on something crazy that's going to happen. I don't know. It's hard to. I don't know. I feel like there's only like 3 or 4 possibilities.
We're in uncharted territory here.
Yeah, I'm so up in the air on which one makes the most sense. And I keep saying this over and over, but we really have to see what happens on Wednesday. Like Wednesday, I feel is going to be so telling for us moving forward.
I can understand edits and who we're setting up as like the survivor goats, because now that's a whole different word.
Yeah.
Versus who the threats are. But in what world, who's going after Sue and who's going after Andy? Because in this theory, do you think that Andy and Sue are going to the end here? Are they going to be in the finale? And if not, when are they getting targeted?
Yeah, I think I know Rachel's going to finale. I feel like Teeny does still have a 50-50 shot of making it to finale. If they can maneuver their way through this next episode, obviously they're making it to finale. I really think Genevieve, Andy, or Sam is in the biggest trouble moving into this next episode, or Teeny. But we don't really know what's to come with this Teeny thing. We're all just really speculating about Teeny. Caroline, potentially, just because I thought Caroline was going out this last one. But that means going into finale, like if we're talking finale as in final 4, I'm thinking final 4. I think Sue's going to final 4. I just don't think she's winning anything. But I feel like Sue's going to final 4. And I think she'll get picked off with the fire thing. I don't see her.
No. Yeah. Well, I don't know. She shocks the hell out of me, but
I do feel like she's going. Now, I worry that if Andy goes to fire, he's got it. I worry that if Andy goes to fire, he's got the fire.
Yeah. Now, my question is, looking at these 7, but actually looking at let's just go ahead and take Sue and Andy out of it. Let's look at Sam, Genevieve, Caroline, and Rachel and Teeny. Who has the most votes on the jury so far?
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about who's in the jury. We have Saul.
Mm-hmm.
We have, what's her name? Sierra.
Kyle,
Saul, Sierra.
And Gabe.
Oh yeah, and Gabe. Okay, so just looking at those 4, because I guess we're speculating on who else.
Yeah. Say Andy and Sue are on the jury.
I don't think any of them are voting for Sue to win the money.
No, I'm saying if Sue and Andy are on the jury.
If Sue and Andy are as well on the jury. I don't know, but my thought just went to Sue and Kyle at Ponderosa, and I was like, "Whoa!" Which again, okay, wait. If Kyle is so shocked, I think Sue's going to finale because that means they didn't talk at Ponderosa outside of the game. But anyways, I think that Teenie.
But no, he said Sue was always nice to his face.
Okay, so I guess she could have been nice to his face at Ponderosa.
At Ponderosa, yeah.
I think, I don't know. I feel like Teenie might have those votes or Rachel.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. I think Teenie or Rachel might have those votes.
Okay.
I don't think Sam has those votes at all.
As I said that, as I was sitting here saying, like, okay, let's be realistic here, and like Sue and Andy are on the jury. I don't know why I just got like one of those weird gut, that's so Raven flash moments.
Mm-hmm.
I see Andy in the Ben spot in final 3. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from, but I just envisioned it. I just envisioned fire challenge. He wins it. He pulls it out. He secures the number 3 spot, a la Ben from season 46.
I'll give you this. The only 2 people that I would want to see win as a viewer would be Teenie or Rachel. And that makes me think that that's where the edit's leading me. But
here's the thing, though. Bottom line is, I really enjoyed Sam's game. I think it's a little on the lackluster side compared to some of the women in this game. Mm-hmm. But when we're really looking at it, Genevieve, holy shit, to go from last pick to be running this fucking island all season. So impressive. I'm very impressed by Genevieve, and she continues to impress me every episode. Sometimes it gets a little bit intense, sometimes it's a little villainous, but hey, not in a toxic way, and so I'm here for it. Rachel, to come from a tribal, which granted, yes, Saul gave her an advantage that saved her skin, but going to a tribal council with an entire other tribe and you on an island, to walk away from that, and then you just had you were a dead man walking at that, dead woman walking at that point, to find an idol, to get advantages, to rebuild your relationships and re-solidify your spot in the island. Huge, like winner potential, deserving winner in my eyes for Rachel. Caroline every single week, and watching her social game has been truly impressive, especially in her Sue management skills, when we know how volatile that relationship could actually turn on a dime and get. So I see huge, like, I'm impressed with Caroline, I'm impressed with Rachel, I'm impressed with Genevieve, and then of Teenie, who we beloved Teenie since day one. We've loved Teenie, and so like those 4 women right there, like I could see it, I could hear their argument, I could see me being ecstatic that any 4 of them won it. So
a woman is winning. I do not
think Sam winning. Or Andy Sammy had it on the nose when he said that he only drafted women because a woman was winning.
The woman's absolutely winning. I see no way out for Sam. And I really don't. I know a lot of people feel like Andy might win. I don't think so.
He has gotten like the rise, like of the phoenix from the ashes kind of edit. But I don't see it there. I don't see the jury votes. But I could be wrong. I love to be wrong.
Yeah. I hope that I'm not wrong and that
Teenie's
not in hot water because man.
We all want it for Teenie. I
really do. Like, even if Teenie wasn't my draft pick, like it really, I don't care about the draft at this point. Like, I just love Teenie. Like,
that's how I felt about Kyle. As much as like, I mean, I'm in a feminism office. I don't know if y'all can ever tell. Like, there's like Hex the patriarchy and like sugar is spice equal fucking rights. Like, I am in the feminism headquarters in this office here, but Kyle has to get me to stan a man this hard. is a hard task. And that's how I felt about Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about I guess it's just because I'm more of a holistic watcher and I'm all about okay, like I recognize that yeah, Kyle was great. He was wonderful, but he had to go at that was the opportunity in which they had to get
Of
him out. It
course.
needed to
Of
happen. So
course.
I was shocked. I was a little upset, but I was also rooting for it because that means that everyone else is able to have a better shot at
Yes.
especially the
And
other
that honestly speaks volumes to his character, because if you've listened to me for any amount of time, you know that any comp beast, steamroll, or power alliance I'm actively rooting against. Give somebody else the win. I don't want to see the same person win after. But Kyle hit different for me. Kyle's the
let somebody
only
else do it.
yeah, Kyle's the only competitor in any of these shows I've ever covered where I was actively rooting for him to continue to get these wins. Not just for records, because that's cool and all, but just because I was rooting for him as a person, and he made
We were
me
rooting for
connect.
you. We were all rooting for you. No, I felt the same way about
connect with him, like on a like I felt like I knew Kyle. I felt like Kyle and I just had drinks around the fire pit together. Like
I felt the same way about Big Brother with Tucker. He is not the person I would have ever rooted
I want
for.
to garden with Tucker so bad, and not tomatoes.
Let's go. Let's go. I gardened like the other day, like 2 different days in a row, and I was like, look at me, what am I doing? We're gonna have to talk about that later.
I'm so proud.
I slept so good.
My little girl's growing up.
Yeah, I was like, I got out my device and I was like, is this even, it's been so long since I've used this.
Okay, well, that wraps up our discussion of Survivor 47, episode 11. Please do not forget to subscribe and like. Leave us a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions you'd like to ask the show, you can email me at sarahtalksbigbrother@gmail.com or find us over on Blue Sky and TikTok. After that, well, we will see you next week for the pre-finale episode.
It's basically
a pre-finale episode of Survivor, where we will catch you then. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.